Siyanamukela mfethu. Sibonge nje ukunyathela kwenu phakathi emagcekeni. Ukunyathela kwenu ufake izinhlaka esigodlweni. Siyabonga kakhulu. Sifele namantshilibe, obhanqo, omgavi bobese, ondiza. Kube yibo abasiholayo namhlanje. Abanikazi bomsebenzi. Abhanga. Ajeyi. Andisa. Sokozani amantshilibe yibo abanikazi bomsebenzi. Amangwana amakhosi. Uyakhumbula ngithi amakhosi ayavilapha. Akhipha nje isiqondisi. Nakho kumele kwenzakala. Kepha abantu abaqonda ibhola. Yibo-ke laba kubomama. Amantshilibe. Siyabaphakamisa namhlanje. Ngoba lempi esibhekene nayo iyonqotshwa umoya. Asikwazi ukukhuluma ngogebhe. Izwi ligcwale. Umhlaba wethu ungakabuki. Awuthina sizwe. Yasukuhuba leli hubo Uphelile lecture. Hey, ngoba sime ngaleyo ndlela. We cannot fully appreciate UGEP when we are still landless, subjugated, and the symbol of poverty, not only physical poverty, but the poverty of the mind. Sibona, all nations in the world are nationalizing, meaning what they are taking care of themselves first. Yes, a lot of us have been saying when we are trying to justify the theft and to clear our conscience, we say we are global citizens. Therefore, we need to accommodate everybody that is in our country. That is cowardice. You can never accommodate a thief. Somebody who came and stole your land, you can't negotiate with that person. You can't even share your land with that person. Kumanje, after 20 years, over 20 years after 94, we are still landless. And there's still no hope that the land will return. Yingakho ke sithi yimpi yamadlozi le. Asibiyeni ke namhlanje. Ukuthi namhlanje we are dedicating this lecture to the return of the land. We are making a spiritual appeal to all our ancestors that let them lead the way. Ngoba if we can lead the way, there will be bloodshed in this country. So for the ancestors to prevent that, let them lead the way. Let them fight this fight in their own way. If it means bayabatsipa until they leave this country, let it be so. Remember, the question of land will never be resolved by politicians. Because politicians are after votes. It doesn't matter what vote. They are gunning for the Chinese vote. Therefore, they need to accommodate the Chinese person in our own country. They are gunning for the white vote. Therefore, they need to accommodate white people. Who is being compromised in the process? It's the black person. So therefore, Yimpia Makos, it's the kings and queens that are supposed to lead this war. In anyhow, this land was taken from them. There were no political formations when the land was taken from us. Now, we wonder, where's the conscience of our royals? When they are happy to tell us that they are happy to be constitutional monarchs. What does that mean? I'm happy to be a constitutional monarch. It means, Uguti, you are agreed that you will be subjugated forever. That's what it means. So this is so disappointing for us to hear that, because it says to us there's no hope. There's no hope for a black person in South Africa. There's no hope for a black person in Africa, because it's not only those that are here in South Africa. All over the continent, they are singing the same song. I'm happy to be a constitutional monarch. What does that mean? Huh? It means that the politician who has decided and happy to preside over theft, even the king says, you are okay. You did well by presiding over theft, by subjugating me as a king, a custodian of the land. I agree that I will be paid by umfokazana. That's what it means. You are submitting to your children. Because who is running this constitutional democracy? It's children of the queens and kings. It means when you are saying that you are a constitutional monarch, we as black people in South Africa can never or no longer are able to call you a king. Because usungumfokazana wena. Hey, how can a king agree to be ruled by subject yake? How do you allow your subject to rule you? And even the structures, zamakhosi, how do you allow a president to give you authority to sit on that throne which was established before they were born, these presidents? How do you allow that? No, I am not able to rule over my people until the president comes and say, you have a right now. Mkhulu. Madness that we see now, people. So now, we are making a special plea today, but on the 20th of March, we are making a ritual to inform our ancestors officially that we are handing over this fight over to them. Let them deal with this fight as they please. Because the people that we thought will lead this process are too afraid to upset the master. It means all kings on the continent are subject of the Queen of England. That's what it means. Now, it's above us. If betrayal on both sides, the royal people and the politicians are betraying black people, there's no spirit of nationalism that we are seeing all over. Why is Ukraine fighting? Why is Russia fighting? Why is Germany protecting itself? Why is France doing the same thing? Nationalism. In the time of war, you think about yourself before you think about your neighbor. That's what it means. But we don't see that on the continent. Inkinga ikuphi? This is what we need to ask our royals. That people that we bestow that honor, to call them amakhosi. Huh? Do they deserve that title?
Not at all.
They don't deserve that title. Sesiyababiza ngoba sinenhlonipho. We are cultured people. We always respect. Even if we can see that you are messing us up. Our eyes are open now. You can no longer fool us and use culture to perpetuate the colonization of African people. We can see through you. culture they use when they want to pacify us. But they don't use the very same culture to challenge the system. Why? Because they are happy. They are happy to be fed by the system. And they are giving them crumbs for that matter. Yini 15,000 or 20,000 for inkosi. Huh? Hey, even there are still complaints that ingane le mali. That's all we hear. They talk about when they come to the media. All they want from the president is that I am equal to so and so. Why am I not getting the same package? If instead of ukuthi bayipha impi and chase away all this evilness in their land, they are comfortable with that. But now there's hope. There's hope. There's hope among Wanezi. Over the weekend, we took a trip Nozesilo. Siyobuka indawo siyonyathela la kumele senzele lo mkhosi. Khona. There is this place they call the amphitheater mountain. Remember, okokuqala ukuthi uNomkhulu is the spirit of the waters. As much as that place can be beautiful, but we are not going to talk to the spirit of the mountains. We are talking to the spirit of the waters. The most disturbing thing that we experience is that all of these places are owned by white people. All the sacred places are owned by white people. Ebekville. Second. But manje, when you experience it physically, where a white person will tell you the rules in your own land, you can't do this. We want to sleep. Therefore, we cannot do our sacred rituals in our sacred spaces because they are captured. Hey, what justified all this? It's the Freedom Charter. Yeah. The land belongs to all that lives in it. This is what justifies what these white people, these evil white people are doing. Huh? He says, when I go there, I tell them I'm not going to pay. And the people I'm with are not going to pay. But that's an insult on its own. Do you understand? To a point that they don't respect the custodian of that whole land. Why? Because the politicians are backing this culture. The South African political system, is perpetuating that situation. Not only among Waneni. You hear Makosi ati, I have land. I'm a king. Remember, a king is a king because of the land he is looking after. There's no king without the land. What are you a king, for? Without land. So it means, Uguti, all this time, our people are going through internal confusion when they see the owner of, the hotel right at the peak of the mountain, where people from Switzerland, they come and do their ritual. Abalung! These places, most of the time, who goes there are white people. When you look at the community, like, in all those areas, people are no longer understanding the importance, the spiritual aspect of these places. They are not even aware about that importance because they now view that as into yabelu. It's only for white people. White people are the only people who are allowed to come and recharge in our own land. Do you understand? So the association with those, spiritual places, it's always white. But there's hope. There's hope. When we got to Esgojweni, the great house, when I speak about this to Undabezita, he says, Shongwane, kumele siqine sibaphasele labantu. Undabezita uthi, kumele siqale i-campaign to chase all white people from our land. He said, let them go and keep them busy in those cities they developed for themselves and leave us alone in our rural areas. That gave me so much hope. It gave me so much hope. Now, this is the time ukuthi sivuselele amabutho. Sisempini. We are at war. And the sooner we realize that, the better. So the importance of the 20th of March is that kuzoba nembuzi yokubika, a goat that will then inform the ancestors about our intentions. With regard to the land in totality. Then the second goat, imbuzi yesibili, ivusa amabutho omoya. The second goat is supposed to awaken all those spiritual warriors, the owners of that land, umatiwane. Ilembe lenkamanya malembe ngokhalipha. Isango elibanzi elingethiwa bafokazana lethiwa imfondane ngoba ngayirondizela phezulu. Ngithi kundabezitha asinamthetheleli singabantu abamnyama. There is no king who seems to be protecting black people against the viciousness of the system. All the kings and queens are happy to be paid by the system and keep quiet. Undabezitha says no more. No more. We need to put the plan together. Someone. This is what he says to me. Ngithi Ndabezitha, ngiphake impi. Ngiphake. Ngithi masumba iphake impi ngoba isikasakho. What is the point of us living like cowards and hope that our children would fight our battle? How easy is that for a parent to think like that? No, ingane zoyibona. Mina, I'm okay in the system. I'm getting the package I'm getting every month. What about generations to come? Are we saying, Nabo, those that are not born yet, bazotwala le jogo le nhluphe? They must be raised in poverty, Nabo. Why? Because Tina, we are cowards. Confront the truth. That's the problem. Njengoba ngisho Mokhehla, asiyeni ngobuningi siyokhulumisa le mbuzi ezimbili. Imbuzi yokubika nembuzi yokuvusa amabutho. Ayishome manje. Ayishome manje. Wonke umuntu uyayilungiselela into yakhe. Nobody gives you power. Power is taken. You can't expect to be given power back by these evil people. And they will never listen to you as long as you nice labo. They will never listen to you. Hey. You need to be bold and take a bold decisions. But those decisions must be calculated. Each plan has got to be properly planned and executed gradually. Igojo eyineni zinamabu. Ngisho le eLimpopo amakhosi akhona kunamabutho asesigodlweni and abantu abaningi la egodlweni babuthekile. It means they belong to a certain regiment. Now we are making a call today ukuthi amakhosi wonke South Africa awavuselela amabutho. Let us see them marching on the streets, demanding their land back. We are tired of seeing them marching all the time, demanding things that will just satisfy their own needs. Hayi government mina nginamoto. Inkosi usibanibani uyithengela imoto. Why mina ngingatholanga? That time is over. That's a time for being cowards. It's over. Hey, for them or for us to respect them. Remember, Guti, respect is deserved. You can't expect people to respect you if you are not doing things that are worthy of respect. Hey, Tina, we grew up knowing that a king would rather sacrifice his life to protect the land of his ancestors. This has been happening all over the world, all over the continent. What is life? Life is temporal. We are here temporarily, but our spirit lives forever. The lack of that knowledge system, a Godway, you know, in all these royal places, this is what makes them behave the way they do, as cowards. How many years after democracy, so-called democracy? Over 20 years. You are happy to be paid by your subject. You are happy ukuqotshwa yi-subject yakho. Huh? How can the president give you legitimacy to sit on the throne that was established before they were born, these people? Huh? How does that happen? Manje ke Makhehla, asiphahleleni ukuthi all this must be housed emangwaneni. Hey, amangwane yisizwe esikhulu kabi. Uma nje singake sithi lapha eNatali sibiza zonke izibongo zamangwane. Zinengi izizwe eziyosala zino zero. Mhlambe sina 10 people. Do you understand? It's a whole army of people which must be mobilized for the good of all of us. Because if Baby or Amangwane leads the way on how this thing should be done, that will be a lesson for other kingdoms to repeat. Hey, and the Landole, it's no longer a secret, as much as it's never a secret for political people to deprive us. This is a very important thing. Mhlaba. They playing politics. Umhlaba wethu. Umhlaba is very sacred, you know, to us. Undabezita, you know, umvisubhlungu mekethi athi ngwane. Labelungu batshale phezu kwamathuna okhokho bethu. Manje uyabona ukuthi you can't even negotiate with that evilness. That evilness that doesn't respect. How do you do that? Knowing very well that King so-and-so is buried there. You come and plant your cabbage. A GMO cabbage. That is also a poison to whoever that is going to be eating that cabbage. White people are evil. I can say they're evil. They are not only evil, but they are disrespectful. Have you ever seen a black man going to their fake London and be digging their ancestors' bones? They come here all the time. We witnessed the other day our president Cyril Ramaphosa inhloko yemfene, because they told him ukuthi thina we from Imfene. What's wrong with our people? What is wrong with our people? Umlungu comes and tells our president that Naledi is your ancestor. You pick up that skull, you kiss it in front of the whole world. What's wrong with our people? Even his science talks about against this thing. Remember Guti Lord Darwin, who came up with all this nonsense story. He was exposed for being a fake because in a conference he produced a fake skull. Fortunately, Ushikanta Diop was there to expose him because Ushikanta Diop was against the point that Tina, we are from Inferne. If you agree to that as a black person, ukuthi wena uyimfene, uyiyofene. And then we can't even insult Inferne because we are below Inferne. Inferne is so intelligent that it greets the sun when the sun rises in the morning. That is a demonstration of intelligence. So when uyini ke? Yeah, what's that Inferne? Hey. So Makesha, ilapho nje ukuthi asiqineni emphahlweni. Singavilaphi sivilaphela umphahlo. Ngesikhathi somphahlo, phahla. Even when you are alone, phahla. Ngoba lo mphahlo esiwenzayo, umphahlo wesizwe for the nation. Ukuze isizwe simnyama sikhululeke. We want to be free in our own land, like anybody in the world. And we must get rid of this multiculturalism. We are a rainbow nation. What is that? How do you go to Israel and tell the Israelites, hey, Lamachuta, hey, there's a rainbow nation concept. You will never do that. But you, as a black person, you are able to deceive your own people instead of fighting for them and affirm their position in their own country. You are telling us about a rainbow nation. Meaning that we must accept we've got to accommodate the Jew. We've got to accommodate the Chinese. We've got to accommodate the Belu. That is why we are still speaking English in Parliament. That is why even now, these people won't even think of burning in purple before they start their talk. But they are happy with that foolish guy carrying the gold thing. He'll very learn. That is confirming to the Queen that as much as we are no longer physically here, we are still following your dictates. That is a black person for you. That is how long you have gone. You are even worse because we have trust in you. But your own agenda is to deceive us. Why don't you tell us the truth? Ukuthi nawe uphethwe. Stop portraying the image that you are a president. Hey, that is autonomous. You make your own decisions. But we know very well, as soon as we are voted in, the first place you go to is Calender. All of them, all over the continent. The minute he is voted in, goes and reports to the Queen, I pledge allegiance. A Babatini, they knight you. You become one of the knights. Ubabone, all 4 presidents that we've had, they belong to that secret society of these evil people. Because all of them, from Utata, Tabombeki, Zuma, Ramaphosa, they are wearing all the garments. Other garments that are saying the Queen is in charge. The Queen is in control. The British Empire never died. Is still well, alive, and kicking, even today. Let them prove to us that South Africa doesn't belong to the Queen. Remember, I said, after in 1910, that Union of South Africa, Mkhulu agreed to manage on behalf of the Queen. Mkhulu were managers. They didn't have control. They never had control, Mkhulu. So it means when we are saying that we are ending apartheid, we negotiated with the wrong people, because the Queen will say, nobody came to me. Hey, because South Africa was registered. It was bought by the British from the Netherlands people who came here about Vasco da Gama. The first evil people who came here were sent by Netherlands. In Netherlands, then, the British Empire paid money to Netherlands to hand over South Africa Inc. to the British. So that has never been dissolved. So that is still standing, claiming sovereignty. Sovereignty, because you are lying to us. You are still British protectorate. Wena. But now bazokwenza njenge Ukraine. Bakusasazele phambili. And we are hoping that when the war comes, they will back you up. They won't back you up. Hey, umlungu wenza neqeda ukusebenzisa. Hey, ukulahlela phansi njengamafinyela. So they should have learned from other leaders that have actually experienced the very same thing. So it's up to us, Market. This is what I always say. The buck stops here with us. We can't transfer this confusion to our children. But it's not working, that strategy. Mbonga inkosazana ninkosana la. Hey, shokuthi bayazigruma for future leadership. Hey. These are people we are going to rely on. And all of us here, we must be ready. We must be ready to lead our people out of this mess. And into kumele siyithanda vele siloko siyiphahlela Market ukuthi amakhosi ethu must free themselves from the evilness of this Western system, so that they lead the war to return the land because the land was taken from them. When, not politicians, when the land comes back, they are being sidelined. Ekodesa, they were not there. Ekodesa, they were not there. Amakos. I said it before. Uguti kahle kahle. We, African people, we have a legal leg to challenge all republics on the continent. Because these people never negotiated with the rightful custodians of the land. What they did, they identified their people whilst they are still at school. They sponsor them from school. Once they graduate from school, they know what they are perpetual handlers of that person. They will always toe the line. That's what they did, to all of our leaders. All of them. They went to these missionary schools. All of them went to missionary schools. They come back at home, sebebiza abanye abantu amaqaba. Bona they are gentlemen because sebefaka amathai. Foolishness. So these are the things that we need to talk about and confront, because it was a prestige for an African person ukuthi speak English like the Queen. Some of them even went above. They want to speak English more than the Queen. So how can you liberate your people when all you did was to aspire to be like the colonizer? Because the first thing that you did after you got to the so-called independence, you took everything that was brought by the colonizer and the white bamba so dearly in your heart. You even tell your children that if you don't go to school, that's what they said to people who sacrificed and liberated this country. The 76th generation, ya sacrifice iskolo, ya sacrifice their lives, their comfort for the benefit of the whole. But in 94, they were then told, if you don't go to school, uzothwala amataspi. What type of a parent is that? Remember that the war was won by the youth. The youth that defied their parents. Parents were saying, "Nizobenza nabelungu badala." That's how colonized our parents were. They were so scared of white people. But then the youth defied and took up the armed struggle. They went to Zambia, they went all over Zimbabwe to go and learn, get a military training, so that they are able to come and liberate this country. So it means Guti, the initial departure point was wrong, because so many people died in the struggle in the last more than 100 and something years since black people waged an armed struggle against the system. So many people didn't come back from home. Yeah. But there was a deceit there. The deceit was that we are not restoring the tried and tested governing system of the continent, but we just want to replace the white jockey with the black one. So it means what all of us, meaning almost half of my family was in exile. My mother cried tears here. We're still young. When, my family went to exile to go and fight for the liberation of this country. So nathi singena emzabalazweni by default because we have no chance. Mkhulu would come here and harass people here looking for my family. Whether they were here or not, we felt the evilness of the system. So siyayazi, we know what we are talking about. So there was deceit right from there. It means Guti, not only the ANC, by the way, PAC, Inkatha, all of them. They were not fighting for the restoration of a tried and tested system of governance of the continent. They just wanted to paint a white horse black. Yeah. Then they become the jockeys. Yeah. That's the truth. So that is why our stance right from the beginning, we are not fighting to go and participate in parliament. No. Our departure point, it's not a secret. We are fighting for the destruction of this Western system in our land. The system must fall. And we don't need Nia to be listening to our phone conversations. We are open. We want the system down. And legally, sizoba challenge. Hey. Abathandazi nje ukuthi we don't get the necessary muscle we need for us to be prepared to move forward. You understand? Hey, injalo. Manje, because siyabona all the signs are there. The system is crumbling. And you, as a black person, you are still holding on something that is dying. You want to die with it. Why? Because a white man says so. This is the Alpha and Omega. Without this system, you are nothing. That is the residue of a colonial mindset that we need to clean. First, as African people, royal blood runs in our veins. We are of royalty. It doesn't matter what our kings and queens confusion they are in. But the truth of the matter is that we belong to all these kingdoms. Hey, because kunesgodlo sakwaSongwane. Wena uMakhado because kunesgodlo sakwaMakhado. Wena uSithole because kunesgodlo sakwaSithole. Do you understand? This is what forms the great empire of Kemet. The unity, because here, see great empire of Kemet, because we are all representing our own kingdom on the physical side. Yes. As above, so is below. Now, on the physical, I belong to Amangwa. But on the spiritual level, I belong to Sekhmet, Sekhmet. Sekhmet. Amla Pigat. Amla Pigat. Amla Pigat. Amla Mugad. Amla Mugad. Amla Mugad. Achehut. 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 Jokozini ndaba. Hey, mina ngiphelele nje ngiyi-combination kaSekhmet noJehuti. uJehuti inxele lami. uSekhmet is my right side. Do you understand? On the spiritual level, I belong there. And we are not talking in theory. CIPD is we are living. Because this is why we formed the Kemet chat. So that we can make it that as above, so is below. Ihlangane and create a resonance. Yes. On the physical, I belong here. But spiritually, I belong there. That is self-knowledge. That is what our ancestors always emphasize. Know yourself. Know yourself. And then you know that I think will benefit a lot of people that we spoke about whilst I was Lekai, is the issue. Yes, Bo. The surname. There are a lot of people who were born under circumstances where the parents were not married. Therefore, it says you belong to the surname of your mother. And you must be proud of that. Don't touch that surname of the father if they haven't done it. If your father left this world without fixing that problem, don't touch that, because you are inviting trouble. The most important surname is that of your mother. Hey, one of my brothers even said, wamkhumbuza lesisho esithi, intandane enhle umakhothwa unina. What does that mean? I told you, intandane enhle umakhothwa unina. It means ukuthi when everything is better in your life, go back home. Go back to your grandmother. If you want to live normal again. Hamba uyogqoka wembethe ubakwembethe, abakini ababomama. Ngoba noma umama wakho engasekho, even though your mother is no longer here, spiritually usakwenza kanje. Usakuroka, she rocked you all the time. Idlozi, or the spirit of your mother, will never betray you. And be confident and be proud to say, I am this. It's not your fault that things happened the way they did. It's not your fault. Abanye abantu, they get advice ukuthi hambo lobolela ubaba. Uthatha leyo. Ubaba uhambela emhlabeni angayenzanga leyo. Kepha inyanga ingitshela ukuthi hey, hambo lobolela ubaba so that you are able to shatha leso sibongo. Ungidukisa even more. Why did my father not do that? That's not your problem, man. It's not your problem. I know all of us. There is this unnecessary pressure to want to belong to the father's side. That will never go away. But you can't go there without the proper rituals being done. So if it's not done, leave it. Uzopila, you would live being protected by the ancestors of your mother. And the more you lift up that spirit, is the more things will start opening up. So stop the confusion of wanting to belong where you are sometimes not wanted. They are giving you problems. They don't want to do the ritual for you. This thing frustrates you. And rightfully so, because a lot of children that they diagnose as bipolar, abantu abashushwa isibongo. There's war like Makhalabo. Abo mama bayamdonsa, kabo baba bayamdonsa. Abelungu bathi bipolar. Ilento unga-understand umuntu omnyama. And ubaba Krene washo ukuthi hey labantu le mfene lezi, they are so foolish. Because they come and interpret izinto ngendlela yabo. And they don't respect the interpretation of the people that are affected by the very same thing. Imagine how easy to treat bipolar. Ulungisa nje indaba yesibongo. Ingane yakhululeka. Hayi manje lento umntwana azabe ngathi zombie because they are drugged. Bakunikeza ngazi yini le drug ababanikezayo. And uma umbona umuntu yakhona uyambona nje noma ehamba ukuthi kunenkinga la. Do you understand? So isintu, we need to go back esintwini. Because isintu is scientific. And then now it makes sense, illogical. A child is birthed by both the mother and the father. Yeah. So these are two spirits that are responsible for any birth of a child. So therefore, these spirits are within you. Kokobetu scientifically knew the way how to harmonize. Because the war doesn't start in the physical. The war starts in the spiritual. Once there's war there, you won't find peace here. As above, so is below. So therefore, it's important for you to harmonize there first. Then you will find peace on the physical. That is why on the 20th, we are talking to Umoya. On the 20th, siyayiphala into yomoya. Siyobika emakhehleni, sibikela the spiritual for them to wake up and do as they please. Hey, how they deal with these evil people is their problem. It's not ours. Yeah. Hey, and some of us were born, undeservingly so. What is the face of poverty in Africa? Lack. In our own continent, the richest continent in the world.
Yes.
But we are the face of poverty. Hey, because of the decisions that were made by our forebears way before. Uzalwa nje uzalelwa kulamanya. Khona manje ngasho ukuthi kahle kahle thina la iSoweto kumele ngabe sikhothamela inkosi yabaTswana ngoba yizwe labaTswana nje lefulo. AbaTswana ngeke baze bayinuke le freedom abayiluza then before the evilness discovered a gold and diamond on their land. Hey, but is a city of gold. The babies are kanjani. And the leyo gold wena Mtswana wala eGauteng uyaboshwa if you are found possessing gold. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 gram or 2 gram or whatever. When as a black person, you are not allowed to possess either gold or diamond in your own country. Hey, people would rather babizwe amazamazama kunokuthi labo bantu banikezwe special licenses. Yeah. All black people deserve a special license. Where there's gold and diamond, we should be allowed to go and mine there. Nakhona sizobe sikwenza lokho because sesijwayele imfundiso yabelungu. Yini diamond? It's diamond in carbon. In its purest form. So it means you can create carbon jengabo cocoa in a lab, man. You can create diamond in a lab. You can create gold in a lab. Uti, why were we called Abasekem? Why were we called that? Black chemistry. Because we shocked the world. Hey, labantu were still in caves. Bafika lapha eKemet basithola ukuthi sikhanda gold in our labs. Hey. So we need to go back to that. And I know ukuthi labo bantu, they are here with us. Who possess that knowledge? Ngoba ngathi, you never know amongst all of us. Kunabonefetari. Amongst all of us, uvuke unzinga. Uvuke wasante wa. Uvuke imote. Ngoba we are the living ancestors. There's no other ancestor ufuna ukubona ngaphandle komuntu ombonayo. That's a living ancestor. Hey, okwamanje is just that we are still suppressed, subjugated. Yingakho siza like Great Empire of Kemet, so that we are able to liberate that spirit and give it full expression. Lento siyigqugquzela njalo ukuthi ungasabi ulokho usaba wena ukuphakamisa isandla ngoba uImhotep wants to express la ngaphakathi kuwe, but wena you feel you don't deserve, even if utholile formula in your sleep. I know they are going to laugh at me. Who am I? Kanti thina sikho lapho. Angithi abantu sebezijaja according to the Westerners. It means when I don't have a degree or I'm not a professor, nobody is going to listen to me. Manje, things are different la GK. Everybody is important. Everybody is important because asazi ukuthi uvuse bani. Ngokwegama lakho lasemhlabeni uyilento. Kepha ngokamoya, until we discover ngezenzo zakho by your own actions, we then get to know ukuthi who you are. So asambeni Makheja nge-20 kusele a couple of days asambeni siyophahlela isizwe sine launchpad i-launchpad enhle indawo yaseMangwaneni. Emangwaneni currently abantu who are looked at by i-system as the rebels. Why? Because they oppose. I'll make an example. They oppose most of the things that are said by government. That is why the infrastructure and the service delivered in Mangwaneni, because they refuse to be part of this scheme. This scheme says Natal. Hey, in Natal is a scheme that is so alive. And if you oppose that scheme, you are going to be deprived. You are going to be deprived of services, which is why we need to come out of the system. And let's separate those that want to continue and perpetuate colonization. Let them stay in the cities. Those that want a total liberation, there's a makan. Hey, if you want to live again as an African person, Amakaya, the rural areas must be your place of comfort. Meaning, Guti, we will have an opportunity to build new cities. Because there's plenty of land in rural South Africa. Hey, we will have an opportunity to rebuild anew from these places. Maybe it was a divine plan. Uguti. Hey, some of these places must be preserved. Hey, look, that happened. You can check it. Ebekville Mangwane. There are people who were hanged because they killed white people. When white people wanted to attack their farms, Balwelan, babies are impian. Hey, abelungu bebezo spray amafama abo bathi angeke nikwenzela. Baba fucking ganona mango. To a point ukuthi 11 of them were then hanged lapha ePitori, Mampuru. Sisabhizi namanje ngokuyolanda umoya wabo laba and return them back home. So Amangwane have always been rebels. Hey, so it wouldn't be anything new if this total liberation of the rural areas is led by Amangwane. It makes perfect sense. Actually, Okoko would be very angry if on the Bezita abanyatheli ngaleyo ndlela. Yeah. Hey, ngoba undabezitha mele abheke ngempilo yakhe to save Amangwane nomuntu omnyama. But manje undabezitha uthi asibaphatheleni kwathi. Yeah. asiqineni la emphahlweni labantu bazoyiphumela ezweni lokhokho bethu. Into esikhuluma la all the time asidinge ma atomic bomb team. I-atomic bomb yethu is the original material of that atomic bomb. Ilanga. Hey, that's our atomic bomb. Siyabaphahlela thina nje abantu. Bese ke siya witnessa ke ama signs akhona kusho ukuthi amadlozi azwile. Mawubabona balokho bawa nje abantu. Uyasho nje ukuthi wena sowulandela manje emva kwabo to pick up the pieces. So he promised that undaba ezitha made and we all made over the weekend ukuthi abelungu bazophuma emangwaneni. Abelungu bazophuma emangwaneni whether they like it or not. Their days are numbered. And they will be given enough time for them to pack their bags. Hi man. Yes, it's so annoying. It is so annoying. Then the next thing, Lapa Epekville. There are all types of minerals. There's gold, there's diamond, there's coal, all types of minerals. But Amangwan are not able to exploit. Why? Because they say it's a heritage site. Nonsense! Hey! And on top of that, remember Gutigunale Baibizan. Wildlife, whatever, WW, whatever, wildlife something. Pakistan. Yona le and the abelungu laba who come and tell black governments ukuthi Drakensberg is a heritage site. We decided in Geneva. Therefore, you guys are not allowed to touch that. So we are going to go to yonke into. It decided kuphi? Kwa Queen. Hey. I-Queen ithe heritage site le. Ingabe basitshela ukuthi mele sidle nje leyo heritage. Huh? We must eat now the heritage. Abasitshela ngayo. Huh? Akunendaba lapha eLondon. Lapha eBritain azikho indaba. Manje wayebanga concentrate kulezi zinto zabo. To a point ukuthi government nabo are not allowing us, they won't give us a license, a mining license lapha eMangwaneni because umlungu uthe that is a heritage site. On top of that, the other resources that we're supposed to be exploiting by yegelele ebalungwini. Yeah. Most of the farms in Bigville are still owned by white people because they were told the land belongs to all who live in it. So many tracts of land to a point labantu they are sitting kuna lenge wabathi amasimu asesigodlweni abelungu they're sitting there comfortable because othabombeki ngale bayibizani lento yabo Sunset Clause, yes, about your Slovo Navotabombe. They offered Tabelum Sunset Clause that says Ninamangwane, hi, sibambe indaba yenu nabo van der Merwe, they deserve to be there. I'm not talking about Ibekville pair. This is what is common amongst all people in rural areas. They are not liberated. Elimbombo lapha ipresident ithe visitile. Amakhosa lapha athi sikhala ngento yodwa olokhu sipromisa yona, to hand over a title deed to us. That's all they are asking. I-government lokhu yajayiva njani? Ayifuna ukubalungiselela ngoba that is going to affect white business. It's going to destabilize the economy. Mese bekushaya kanjalo bakushaya impela. Babhizi bahamba nawe. No, the markets are going to be destabilized. We mustn't be reckless. That's what they say. When we demand our land back, they are saying we are reckless. Kepha into esiyaziyo ukuthi impi isesangweni. Lokho ngeke bakuvimbe. They can't stop that. The war is here. And the neighbor, they can feel it. Umnyama has had enough of the exploitation by their own people. No. Remember we spoke about the stock market the other day. We are going to affect the stock market, we are going to affect the currency. Now Putin, Ukraine, but what has happened to the price of oil? How much are we paying for petrol now? Those are circumstances that are not under our control, but they are affecting us. So it means, Ubuti, when a black person wakes up and demands what is rightfully theirs, we are going to be in that situation. In NATO, remember, I said, all these leaders, they signed bilateral agreements with all the evilness here in NATO. All of them have signed bilateral agreements with our country. So the day we demand our land back, they are going to do the same and threaten to bomb all of us. We are ready to die. We are ready to die in defense of our land. And we are quite clear now that politicians have no intention of returning that land back to us. Manje uyabona, when you make a call for the land without talking about the Republic of South Africa, it's a wrong call. Destroy the Republic of South Africa, then your land is liberated automatically. Once you destroy this evilness of these republics, then Ukumalo gets their land back. Because that is where it was before it was balkanized into this Republic of South Africa. And we know the borders, the mountains, the rivers. Even Amasat, where imingcele for Makos. Kuyaziwa ukuthi beyond that river, there's Inkosi uSibanibani that rules there. Yep. Now, our own government is saying, you, as tribal people of that land, You must go and claim from the system, claim your land. That's another delaying tactic.
Yep.
But manje, amakhosi, because lama claims lanka, they involve a lot of money. You have to pay so much to the lawyers. Why must it be so? Because iPremier knows ukuthi omthethwa indawo yabo isuka la iphelela lapha. Why must we be put in that condition for us to go and claim instead of the system returning the land back to us? They're making it difficult.
Yeah.
It will never be realized. Land of the return of land. Kahle, they have no intention. Remember, Guti, EFF offered the ANC at some point and said, I'll give you my vote for us to have this 2/3 majority, for us to change the constitution.
Yeah.
But a political decision just overwhelmed everything. ANC, we can't do it because we are offered by EFF. It will be like we are following EFF. Who gets to lose in that decision? It's black people.
Yes.
And I don't even understand why do you even need a 2/3 majority when the black people, all of them, Abalaphe Parliament, can just wake up one day and say, from namhlanje, iyaphela it ends here. Bayiflathele leya parliament, the capital of evil, because that is what it is. Sikhuluma ngenhlupheko yomuntu omnyama, sikhuluma about the loss of our land. Yileya parliament. Every day bakhuluma ngokuthi how are they going to continue pacifying black people, for black people to think that the solution is coming, and yet it's never going to come from these monkeys. It's true. A solution for a black person can never come out of a political ideology. Never. So if umphatho ozodissolve, angithi amakhehla seyoqalile ayishisile, bayenzani? It means they are homeless. They are like street kids. Bafana naye lo muntu oyishisile le parliament. It's a complete reflection of what is happening kubo labantu labo. So iParliament must be, dissolved. Kumiswe indlu yobukhosi. When you then look at how many kingdoms do we have in South Africa, you'll find that Mkhulu ngama-sub, the main houses. You'll find that there are about 10 or 11 or 12. So those people should form this greater royal house, which will then sit above politicians. Our politicians become the implementers of the vision of these people. That is how Africa should be structured, so that there's harmony. And that is not assimilation, right? It's taking over. If Amakosi says we are not waging a war against Lesotho, there is no politician that will wage a war. Do you understand? If Amakosi Ati, you are not going to shoot our people who are working in mines. That will happen. Do you understand? Why? Because labantu badinga ukuphathwa. These politicians mele bakontrolwe nabo. Otherwise they run amok. They use intelligence against us. Their own people. Instead ukuthi balandela belungu. Inkinga sumuntu omnyama. And umuntu omnyama is not born a criminal. System yiyo criminalize umuntu omnyama. It's a criminal system. And remember I said legally we have illegal ground to challenge land. Abayenzayo labantu. And one day we will have the opportunity ukubafaka enkantolo bonke and try them. Because lento lebayenzayo, they are doing it and they are conscious of it. Why? Because it's affecting black people. Nothing will happen. That's what they think. Ufuna ukumtshela ukuthi if they were doing that to amaJuda le eIsrael, amaJuda alanda amaGerman, umuntu beseke gugile hamba kanje bamfake khona. Why? Because you are responsible for our suffering. Now, but they deserve to be tried. Because they are part of the violation of our human rights. What happens if you violate my human rights? Biden already ubeka ama lawyers akhe to try Putin for human rights violation. Already, impi ayikapheli. Abelungu and politicians are violating our human rights on a daily basis. And that means nothing, because the life of a black person has no value. And they are no longer hiding it. They are open about it. They've been open right from the start. It's just that Yiti who were sleeping. We should have seen this thing in '94. Kepa, who would have challenged that? Wait. Who would have challenged that? Because Tata was the darling of all the people. Especially Lengam. Hey, Mr. Mkhulu Tata Batata Zela Buche Amafu Tata Happy Amashi. Because of the fear of the unknown. They know what they've done wrong to black people. Therefore, Tata Begeba Tetile. Aba protector. The evilness of Ayenzayo. Ebandwina Bamnyam. Manje la makesha waseko. Kufuneki redress. Hey, redress. And the mebala vele lo mhlaba wethu sizowuthatha ngenkani. If umoya says sihlome ngeibhamu, we will do that. Yes. Silinda umoya thina siyophahla nge-20. Sicele emadlozini ukuthi nayi inkinga. Kubuya ngathi there's no solution to this problem. Because we keep rounding on the same, circles. Wire. How many revolutions have we made from '94? Is there something different in the life? No. But si pacify nama RDP. As if Tina City ama RDP. Huh? Nama 350. Imali eqolo ke wayizwaphi lo mhlolo lo. Ubhadala ingane for them ukuthi zibe pregnant.
Yeah.
Aren't you messing up your whole nation?
Yeah.
Turning your whole nation into a charity state. Abantu abasakhona ukuzenzela.
Yeah.
Balindele 350 yakho.
Yes.
Which is an insult. Ubona ugogo avuka ngabo 3 ngabo 4 ekseni. Ayoma inline emakhazeni.
Yeah.
Hey, 4350. I know. Wena uzitshela ukuthi I've done well.
Yes.
To black people.
Yes.
Because I've made them a charity case. That is not sustainable in the first place. Had you made Umhlaba available and supported and built entrepreneurs out of these people, there wouldn't be a penny near for namhlanje. We would be able to build our own homes. Why? Because the government here is there. When the Mkhulu, that's what they did to the Afrikaners. When they took over from the British, they banned the Afrikaner from A to Z. There, Volkskas was there to take care of that. Tina, sihluleka nje ukufoma a state bank, man. Huh? How many billions go to the coffers, the Net Bank, the FNB, and Standard Bank every year? From government. That money should have been put in what is called a state bank, so that that money can bankroll black people. The formation of this state bank, it never materialized. It never materialized because it's not the intention of black people in government to empower their own black people. I said last week, it's easy to deal with poverty. As an example, you can end poverty in just 3 or 4 years, like Soweto, and turn Soweto into something which is greater than Senti. If you had the good intentions, but you won't do that. You won't do that because your handler is uncomfortable with that. Hey, ufuna ukungitshela ukuthi who owns the Alpine? Hey, umlungu ngithi.
James
Umlungu that lobbies black politicians to keep them in that position. Alpani must never be challenged by any black initiative. That's the first thing I would do. If I were a politician, I would look at all the products that are consumed by my people on a daily basis and start saying, we are no longer buying this product. Let us create our own. What is wrong in that? What is wrong in that? What is wrong in that? And we are not only saying that, Uzane fund, you bring a fund, billions, that are going to fund entrepreneurs that are prepared to re-establish those businesses in black people's communities. What's difficult in that? Ukala, you start with a bread, you come with mini. By the time what's the fish oil? Soweto is buzzing. Most people are economically active because they no longer need to go and travel to town to go and work for peanuts. Bakashwa within our community, and the money circulates amongst us. Manje, does that need a rocket scientist? No. Does that need a rocket scientist? No. Manje, yini le Panjama politicians from 94. Yini. What is preventing our politicians to implement such simple and logical strategies to empower a black person? There's no intention. No, but you know, njengoba ngisho yonke into is gaining, you know, momentum. All we need, Tina, is backing of one kingdom. One kingdom in South Africa. Backing their vision of Dominion. Then the only Africa will be liberated. And Sitolile no kingdom. It's there. It means kumele nathi sivuthelele mesiphatha ukuthi ngathi labantu bangaqina. Ngoba lento abazoyenza nathi inzima. Ayifuna amavaka. And the futhi bona, they have no excuse. Ngoba ukhokho wethu Matiwane ubane lona ivanga. Wabambana namabhunu, not amabhunu amangisi, for 3 years embolompo. Kuthiwa Mangwane ebevimba inganono ngamakhanda. That's the bravery of those people. So that is the same bravery that must be demonstrated again. Siyabonga mke. Kudla sekudla. Awuthina sizwe. ngokuthi ngibonge kakhulu kunedlazana nje labantu engithanda ukulibonga. Kuthe Wednesday no Thursday kumele sihambe seBigville. Ngaxakeka ngoba siye saba nenkinga imali engahlangani kahle. Kepha sithe sisabheke lolo daba kwangena ikhona. Ithe ukhona ngithi hayi ngikhona. Hayi ngicela ukudlula. Meke dlula lo muntu akadluli nje uthi uzokhanyisa. It means ukuthi yinto bokumele yenzakala. Ngoba mina ngithi la ngaphakathi uma kungamelanga ngiye Bigville nyonyathele ekhaya angeke ngiye. Akuphelanga i-hour masa. Wafona umuntu from nowhere. Hayi ukhona Mkhulu ukuthi ngikhona. Siyabonga kehle uyazazi igama lakho. Siyabonga kakhulu. That is how they were able to sifinyelele. You know, sibonge ke no lentuza namanye amakhehla bethi azoba khona namhlanje. You know, kepha baphumelelanga. Nabo batheme bezwa kungathi kunenkinga yokuthi because bengeke size sifikisane sonke le eBigville. Singayanga thina kuqala siyonyathela amabanga. Manje mebezwa ukuthi kunenkinga bathi Mkhulu kwenzakalani sashoke hayi immediately bathi ayisinike nje isikhashanyana sizokulungisa lokho. Siyabonga makhehla kakhulu. Sithi kwande makhehla la nithathe khona. Sibonge ke nabo bonke abantu abasincedisayo namhlanje besinenkinga. Saze sancedwa lapha ilentuza indlovukazi nenkosana lapha eThekwini ngedata. I don't think ngabe sesaba live namhlanje. Why? Because rain is been giving problems. But kukhona abantu mebeyizwa lenkinga base immediately bathumela amadata so that in case rain ayisebenzi, you know, sikhona ukuthi siqhubeke ngoba uma siluza the live stream I affect thina sodwa la affect umhlaba wonke abantu who are waiting to hear the message. Siyabonga nani makhehla, siyabonga kakhulu. Sibonge nabo wonke umuntu okhona, sibonge nakubo labo abasemakhaya basibukele through YouTube channel yethu. Sithi ningadinwa. Siyacela kakhulu laba abakhonayo. Sidinga wonke umuntu omnyama abe khona. Nge-20 mesiya le Drankensberg. Futhi akuyona iDrankensberg intaba zokhahlaba. Kepha seyidume ngale gama lamabhulu. Chokuthi le gama lamabhulu banikeze i-prestige. Mawukhuluma ngeDrankensberg ngathi ukhuluma ngeSwitzerland or something. You understand? So balibulele lethi olithi indaba zokhahlaba. You understand? So that's the rightful name. Sibonge kakhulu nondaba ezitha le esigodlweni eMangwaneni ukuthi uye wasamukela ngomoya omuhle and sithande iresponse yakhe ngoba umuntu ojulile ucele nje ukuthi siqine kakhulu la emphahleni uthi hlongwana sikhululeni lento emoyeni qala so that on the physical mase sinyathela kuyo kube lula uthi nje mawukhohlela impukaniwe. Siyabonga njalo.
Awukhuluma kancane. Thokozani. Thina besilisa siyayiphaka le. Ngicela nenze nje abafiki. Mawune sagila nomkhulu. Uyibeke emsamo ekhaya yini noma umkhona. Umoya okhokha bazoyithatha baye emoyeni nayo balwe ngayo emoyeni. Mawuyindoda. Beke la ekhoneni lapho ungakususi. Bayakwazi ukuthatha bona bakubuyisele. Ngokomoya. Angisho ukuthi uphathe. Kodwa ngokomoya ngicela ukubeke nje. Umkhonto ungawubhekisi phezulu uzosukugwaza abantu. Bekise phansi. Ngizobafika. Bakudalwa la.
Baba Mkhulu.
Ngizwile undaba nje. Uyaphatha lapha, mayiphatha zinike lezi zinto lapha.
Yebo.
Sibeke kuyile kanjalo. Bazoyithatha. Baye emoyeni balwe ngazo ngoba impi yethu isemoyeni.
Haya sideni ke makhehla ama question akhona mkhona. Thokozini.
Bom dia!